This is ESPN is going through a bit of a light scandal here with Rachel Nichols. Over the weekend, she revealed her frustration with losing her host position on NBA Countdown, NBA playoffs, and being moved to the top sideline reporter. And the other person who was negatively affected by that move was Doris Burke. She's a analyst on this who floats between the second and third team of the ESPN broadcast crew between Mark Jones and Dave Pasch. And that move by ESPN caused Doris Burke to lose the top sideline reporter spot. And before I get any further on that, I'm going to try to see if any people want to hear more about this. Alright, now an hour in. Welcome to the Rochford Files with your host, Andrew Rochford, coming to you live from the Denver area. And I'm about to go into detail about this Rachel Nichols story. So as you can see on the screen, this gives you a little transcript of this audio that came out between Rachel Nichols and a couple of other people that are involved here. Adam Mendelssohn was the other person she had this conversation with. And what's clear to me is Rachel Nichols is just like the liberal that Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, they warn you about liberals like Rachel Nichols. Keep in mind that Rachel Nichols got to where she is in a big part due to her family connections. She has relation to Diane Sawyer by marriage, and that's a big fucking connection when it comes to getting into any type of journalism. Then you have Maria Taylor. She's been working her way up the ladder at ESPN, and when it comes down to it, I feel like many people find Maria Taylor far more likable than Rachel Nichols. Ever since Rachel took that job at ESPN, she's had her problematic moments. You could start with the basic big market bias that gets pushed in your mainstream sports. And Rachel is very complicit with that. But there's also more. Remember back in 2018 when Derrick Rose had that 50-point game on Halloween night against the Utah Jazz? Then the next day on the jump, uh, Rachel Nichols proceeds to bring up his rape allegation. She does some pretty distasteful things at times. Then you also had last year when she kept saying, weaponizing Kobe Bryant's death against the Lakers as a means of trying to pressure them into winning the NBA title for Kobe Bryant. That's sick to weaponize someone's death on anyone, regardless of the sentimental value. So that's just among the things that make Rachel Nichols very problematic. And she showed her full ass as being the liberal here. She came out and complained about diversity the moment it caused her problems. Very much in line with the typical white feminist movement. That's what their focus is on. Unfortunately, when your feminist movement is white-led, there's just things that they don't care to do for other marginalized people. They're the first ones that are, I will tell you, that they fight for things once they aren't issues that directly affect white people. And that happens in feminism as well. And this is very much on brand for mainstream liberal shittery right here. And even when Rachel lets you into a political opinion, it's very much mainstream, establishment-driven politics that she holds. But then again, considering who she's related to, the mainstream political elite really benefit her. And she's pretty much safe. You also have to keep in mind, between the sports reporting that she's done, I believe she had multiple gigs at Turner Sports. She also had a stint where she primarily worked at CNN. Even though I think she mainly did sports-related reporting for CNN. Point is, this is very much revealing who she truly is here. Earlier this morning, we had Steven Jackson come out in defense of Rachel Nichols. He had deleted the video that he posted. Here's the transcript. We all ramble and we all say things when we're frustrated. And Rachel did deserve that job. It's plain and simple. I talked to Rachel and I know a lot of the things she was saying out of frustrations because ESPN put her in a bad position. And they even put Maria in a bad position by trying to give Maria a sympathy job. They were trying to make themselves look good because of the Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd stuff going on. I understand the fine line between genuine promotion and forced. But don't get me wrong. Rachel Nichols would know better than to not say that if she really felt that Maria Taylor had earned that position. There's a reason why she complained. She's been given a lot due to her connections. Well, Maria has had to work more to get to where she's at. And it doesn't matter how you try to spin it. It's a bad look if it was a bad look for Rachel to let those complaints go public. And it's also a bad look for to try to reduce Maria Taylor to just having her work given to her by sympathy. Do I feel like Maria Taylor is worthy of all the work she's gotten? Yes, she has. And she's better than just about every NBA host they've had. And that's why Rachel shouldn't have been upset, because ESPN has really had a problem of trying to find the right group of people for their NBA studio coverage. I mean, look at the amount of turnover that their main NBA studio show has. You know why that is? It's because they haven't found a successful formula that would put the show right with inside the NBA. That's been eating at ESPN for years and years and years. They continue to cycle people in and out in order to try to find that inside the NBA magic. But the problem is, with the numerous amount of people that they've had be part of that NBA studio team, whether it's Paul Pierce, Chauncey Billups, Bill Simmons, Stephen A. Smith, Michael Wilbon, Jay Williams, now Jalen Rose. And I could go back even further, is the fact that they cannot even begin to hold a candle up to inside the NBA. And that's because many of these people, many of those personalities are just extremely forced when they try to be like Ernie, Chuck, Kenny, and Shaq. Even though Shaq is by far the weakest of the people that they've had in that inside the NBA, if there's one reason why he has still worked and they've still managed to sustain some success, it's because Shaq is genuine. Even though you disagree with a lot of his taste, just like you disagree with a lot of Charles' takes as well, you know they're being genuine when they're in that, when they go in Studio J throughout the NBA season. All those recent ESPN personalities I just rattled off, they are mostly very forced. And they don't have very good chemistry together. And when they try to be like Kenny, Chuck, and Shaq, they sound very forced. And that's just not a formula that is going to make for successful coverage. And to ESPN's credit, they've been more stable with their announcing teams. And I think that's why, even though with the frustration of the analysts on both networks, ESPN's probably aren't quite as annoying compared to Turner. Before I go off too far, Rachel Nichols should have understood that her position has high turnover. And her being salty like this was clearly her lacking a complete understanding of that. And there must have been good reason for it. If, ESPN still wants those ratings for their pregame as well. And if they think a better host can come in and make things better, then you're going to be reassigned somewhere else. So this is how she starts off today on the film.
And I don't plan to break that rule today or distract from a fantastic finals. But
let's go back to the beginning.
So the first thing they teach you in journalism school is don't be the story. And I don't plan to break that rule today or distract from a fantastic finals. But I also don't want to let this moment pass without saying how much I respect, how much I value our colleagues here at ESPN, how deeply, deeply sorry I am for disappointing those I hurt, particularly Maria Taylor, and how grateful I am to be part of this outstanding team. So the first thing they teach you in journalism school is don't be the story.
You can full out tell that she was saying that through tears. She's still deep down inside hurt by the fact that she can't be the top of the top at the top female in the NBA in terms of studio coverage. And having Maria Taylor in the studio relegates her to 1B at best. And it's definitely feels very forced and ungenuine. Facts are, there's people who could have a much more heartfelt and sincere apology in just a sentence or two, compared to people who go on and on with full paragraphs and essay type apologies. And with Rachel Nichols, she could have convinced more people with a far shorter statement than what she just had right there on that show earlier today. Someone also added transcript of Kendrick Perkins and Richard Jefferson, who were on the jump with her earlier this afternoon. And here's Kendrick's quote first. Well, Rachel, I want to say thank you. Thank you for accepting your responsibility for your actions. You know, as someone that has known you for a long time, being around you, you have treated me with the utmost respect. And you know, always made me feel comfortable in your presence. I know your heart, you know, great person, great individual. And I also know Maria Taylor, great person as well. Very, very talented, hardworking. And I also feel like she deserves every opportunity that is presented her way. My only hope is that we have a commitment overall to support each other through this process, and it's me to support each other through our journey. If you know one thing that's in common about Richard Jefferson and Kendrick Perkins is that they're both part of the Clutch sports umbrella, the sports agency whose most notable client is LeBron James. And if there's one thing about Rachel Nichols is she's very LeBron James friendly. RJ, I agree with her. But let me say this, I fully support Maria Taylor. I worked with her since I first joined ESPN at Get Up and Countdown. I've known Rachel for 20 years. Rachel and our entire group here have had very difficult conversations over this time period. Those conversations don't end here. We will continue to have uncomfortable conversations. No one excused. She is not excused. I am not excused. Per. This doesn't go away, but we have to learn and understand and become better for each other. Really, through our actions more than anything. That is our responsibility, and we all have a role in that. That's something I take pride in, and I hold myself and everyone to a very high standard. And Rachel ends up, thank you guys both for being here with me today. Thank you everyone for being here with us today. So once again, I want to make the point that even though sports don't necessarily try to be political, their issues which involve workplace politics do become very political. And yes, even mainstream sports media mirrors the mainstream political media that you have. Oh, remember the Joe Biden sound clip where he told Charlamagne the God, if you vote for Trump then you ain't black? Think about the people who came to Biden's defense. I did see my fair share of black liberals come to the defense of Joe Biden that day. Whether it was reducing it to just a joke, or even full-on co-signing that statement. And I'm saying that when you're in that national sports media, it is just exactly like being in mainstream media. You're going to have your people come to the defense. Well, you're not exactly safe here if you decide to really go in hard on Rachel Nichols. But the point is, I'm sure that there's also a lot of people who come to the defense of Rachel Nichols, even if they're another big sports talking head that's not directly employed by ESPN, just because they know that if they turn on someone, a white liberal like Rachel Nichols, then it hurts their opportunity to work in that big media sports town.